Autism Awareness Month at Sense Kaleidoscope.
Met my partner and co-founder Akshay Shetty. Her approach and her understanding of what art can do for autism was revolutionary. A really cute, social, and very very intelligent child that I had. This nobody told me what he could do. They only said what he couldn't do. Can't be the answer for autism in this country. Whatever we can do to change the thinking, we have to do. So we thought, why not set up a space where we are celebrating the strengths of autism? We never think about what children with autism are going through. We just see their, behaviors, and we think that they are odd. Our last exhibition, major exhibition, actually was in Paris. It's a myth that the children with autism cannot feel. Who, with a perfectly normally functioning brain, we can't accept it's just a different kind of brain. It's not less. It's not more, it's just different. It's different in a way. Everybody has disabilities in one way or the other. These children, just a little bit more obvious. How they move towards a better future that, we've envisioned for them.
Welcome to our channel Digital Wellness. This is Autism Awareness Month. I hope you've watched our last episode where Ms. Shalini Singh spoke about how autism is not a disease and it's all about managing. They told us how one needs to look at autism. In case you have missed that episode, please watch that episode in the links given below. I am here today at Sense Kaleidoscope, which is a unit of IT Trust who focus on empowering autism. In the last episode, we heard Shalini telling us that the role of parents are so important in identifying that internal talent of the child and molding the children in accordance. With me, I have my advisor and partner, Manjula Prashant, and we together will be speaking to Anima Nair, who is the co-founder of Sense Kaleidoscope. Let us wait to hear from Anima more about this place. Anima, welcome to our channel Digital Wellness. It is a pleasure having you today speaking to us.
Thank you so much, Sujata. It's an honor for me to be part of your program. And I enjoyed watching your previous videos, and I'm really excited to tell you more about what we do and what our children here do.
I'm of course yet to see a lot more here, Anima, but as I walked in, the colors, the paintings were so positive and it was so fulfilling to see. Let me begin by asking you, Anima, since you are the co-founder of this place, first of all, what motivated you to start something like this? Because I find this to be very unique, and at least I've not come across somebody doing work around this area.
Sure, Sujata. So actually how we started this is an interesting story. I met my partner and co-founder Akshay Shetty while my son was studying under her. She was a consultant who came and taught art in the school that my son was attending. So I found that her approach and her understanding of what art can do for autism was revolutionary, at least in my mind, because I was a parent who was looking for solutions. And there weren't any solutions that I could see. I would go from place to place and try to find out, what would fit this really cute, social, and, very, very intelligent child that I had, who also happened to be on the autism spectrum. But I could only see schools saying, no, we won't take him, or he can't do this, or, he can't do a word problem, he doesn't understand this. Nobody, and I'm emphasizing this, nobody told me what he could do. They only said what he couldn't do. And then, so Akshay and I sat down and decided this can't be the answer for autism in this country. Whatever we can do to change the thinking, we have to do. So we thought, why not set up a space where we are celebrating the strengths of autism? It is not about telling the world what they can't do. It's about showing the world what they can do, and then giving them the structure, the skill, the support that they need to do it even better than you could possibly imagine. So that's why we started this.
It is so overwhelming to hear this story from you. For everybody, there's always a calling and a purpose, and it is so nice to hear from you that your calling was very clear, and it is so nice that you have converted your thought into a great initiative like this, Anima, and congratulations for that. Can you, I saw this beautiful story written here. What is it? And it also says bystander. What is it? What does it all say? It looks so lovely, but I just want you to tell the story behind this.
Sure. So this is what we call our bystander wall. So our children were asked to do this project from Kadak Collective, where they were supposed to express visually or verbally through songs or in any way they wanted, how they felt when they were bystanders, standing, watching, doing nothing while they were bullied, hurt, made fun of, So in the beginning, we had a tough time teaching them what the word bystander meant. But when we broke down the meaning to them, they understood that in their lives, there had been many bystanders and very few people who actually intervene to help them in these situations. So this wall represents what they went through. This is a work by Rohit, where he explains like he was bullied and he was made to bite cars and trees, being told that it was made of chocolate. This is something that we don't normally think, like, what are these children going through? We never think about what children with autism are going through. We just see their, behaviors and we think that they are odd. We don't know what is driving them. We don't know what is underlying those behaviors. Neither do we think that we need to correct that. So that's Rohit's work. This beautiful piece is from Meera in sort of Madhubani folk style. It's not original Madhubani style. She's just starting. And this is her explaining how she felt excluded from groups when she was in a regular school. And she was in a regular school till a couple of years ago when she joined us. This work is from my son, Pranav. As you can see, he loves geometric patterns and he loves cats. So this story is about when our neighbor took our beloved cat away from us, and it really hurt him so much. Even now he's saying, why did that happen? Where is my cat? And how can we get him back? So this is the pain that he dealt with, but he managed to transform it into something, really eye-catching, I should say. And this is a work by Sakshi, who does work in the print medium. This is another work from Meera. And you can see Sakshi's is completely, again, abstract. And this is a continuation of Rohit's stories. So we have that in a comic book format. And Kadak really loved these works by our children, and they've got a lot of appreciation for expressing their emotions so beautifully and so clearly.
It's so emotional to see everybody's work. See, there's a saying, right? A picture, tells you many stories. I think each of these pictures has so many stories to say, and one would have never imagined that they are depicting what they see, emotionally into what they do. Like, for example, Rohit, right? His own experience of bullying, how beautifully, he has actually listed it, right? Rohit, this car is the chocolate car. Oh my God. Rohit, the sand is the chocolate, and can you please eat this chocolate? I mean, look at the expressions in each of this. And, this is done by Meera, the Madhubani paintings. I mean, look at she being a girl, right? So graceful. Yeah, and you explained the story about your son. Yeah, Pranav's, right? One thing that I found, is he very good in computers?
Oh, yes. He's very good with computers. He's very good with technology. And for him, anything new in technology excites him a lot. So, yeah.
Why I said that? because one, you told us about the cat story, but I saw patterns behind the cat story. And as computer scientists, right, uh, all our algorithms, some way or the other, we do a lot of pattern matching and see how the brain reacts, right? This is a very beautiful depiction. Each one of these paintings are so beautiful. And do you also have this presented in certain exhibitions, or how do you kind of promote it to the world? It is so good. What do you do to promote it to the world?
COVID times, we had a lot of physical exhibitions because we realized early on that our children are uniquely gifted, as you can see. But while we train them professionally, we don't mess around with their style. We leave them to have their unique style, but we give them enough structure and a strong framework so they can work towards being professional artists. Now, if you are a professional artist, then you start commanding a certain respect. You are accorded dignity as well. You will be able to sell your artworks. And then even your artworks can even be merchandised for other streams of revenue. And that is a model that we're working on here, because most of the people in society think that autism is doomed to be a burden. And we believe that with the right training, I'm not talking about all aspects of autism, we're talking about children who have an inclination for the arts and who can have the comprehension to see how to do a vocational program. At least those children we can help. We don't have to let them fall through the cracks. We can definitely help them. And because we're working on that model, we decided, okay, now let's just take it out. And we've taken our kids' artworks out all over the place. Our first big break was when we did the Outsider Art Show, which was supported by the Kochi Binale Foundation in 2019. And for 10 days, we showcased our children's works, along with the works of children from other parts of the country. And it was a super duper hit. It was so good. And then we realized that there's this enormous response. We had done exhibitions in Bangalore. We've done it in the Rangoli Metro Art Gallery. People just walking in and seeing, and they never believed that these works were done by children with autism, because nobody knew that it was possible. And then our last exhibition, major exhibition, actually was in Paris. I'm sure you'll be really interested to know that. So we couldn't take our children there, but their artworks definitely went there, and we got a lot of appreciation, and we've got invitations to showcase all over the world. Because if you train professionally without thinking of limitations, then what is produced is something that the entire world will sit up and take notice of. And that is the power of autism. We consider autism a superpower here. We tell our children that you guys are all superheroes. And that, yes, superheroes have some weaknesses, but you have to deal with that. But focus on your strengths. That's our philosophy, and I think
It's mesmerizing to see such emotions and the paintings. Many times I've seen people are being very judgmental, and because special kids lack some of the social skill and empathy. But when I see this, I don't think so. It's not the special ones, it's the people who so-called labeled ones, I feel. But with this kind of a setup and beautiful schools that you are running, some of the challenges and rewards that you have come across with your experience?
Yeah, sure. Let me answer the question on the social skills bit first. Okay, so as you can see, our children can feel very deeply what's going on. So it's a myth that the children with autism cannot feel or that they cannot emote. They can, but because of the, to put it very simplistically, wiring of the brain, yes, many times they cannot express the emotion that they're feeling. So, for instance, you would see a Rohit who may be very deadpan on his face, but when he talks about what he's going through, you'll understand the pain he's going through. And then when he draws about it, it takes you to an entirely next level. So it's not about them. You're right. It's a little bit about people like us who, with a perfectly normally functioning brain, we can't accept that there could be such variations, because let's face it, autism is just a different kind of brain. It's not less. It's not more, it's just different. It's different in a way that allows them to focus very keenly. They have great attention to detail. They can notice patterns where we would not notice patterns. And they have great memory in many cases. But emotion, reading body language, anywhere where there is some confusion, it's difficult for them to handle. That's why they take to technology so well, because technology is consistent. People aren't. So yes, and that's one of the challenges that we face, to have people understand that these are children first. The autism comes later. So when all our lives, all their lives, we are training the children with autism, don't do this, don't do that, you sit here, don't move. Even if your body is telling you, move, even if you're trying to cope with a lot of noise, don't do it, don't flap your hands, don't embarrass me, don't do this. It's always don't do. But what do we tell everybody else? What do we tell all the normal people? It's okay to be judgmental. Do we tell them make allowances? Accept. Everybody has disabilities in one way or the other. These children, just a little bit more obvious.
Everybody falls in the spectrum.
In some way, look, like if supposing you ask me to dance, I'm a very, very bad dancer. I don't think I can dance. I mean, for sure I can dance. So would I want to be known as a bad dancer? Or would I want to be known as a good teacher or an exceptional writer? Because I can do those things very well. I can't do this. But in autism, we are always focusing on what they can't do. Like they're so poor in social skills, right? But you're not telling the other children, look at what they're trying to say through their art. Open your mind a little bit and understand a bit more. Be more accommodating, because that just makes people more kind, right? What's the harm in being more accommodating? So these are the things that we have to battle. And our rewards truly just working with the children day in and day out, seeing how they move towards a better future that we've envisioned for them. And when we see how they make friends within the community of children over here, and how much they enjoy their time together, how they bond over lunch, the kind of chatter they keep having. And initially they didn't know how to even have conversations. And when we see how important these bonds are to them, and how important connection is to them, how isolation really hurts them, all of these things are learnings for us as well. And it's a huge reward to see them grow as people. This place is full of paintings. I'm just going to bring you this side and show you a few more, if you'd care to take a look. We have literally hundreds of paintings that I could show. To interfere with the artistic sensibility at all. Ayush wanted his teeth green and he's painted it green. We said, fine, if that's what you is. Where we have these curated themes for the children, because Adarsh he's 25 now, and he can't maintain eye contact. He'll continue to astound us, I think, till we die, because every day is something new. And curriculum that we've developed, we've taken 8 years to develop this, teach our concepts. Like for instance, this is how do you teach someone to draw regular 2D, different kinds of leaves.